Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, so if you're a homeowner in South Africa, you're probably sick and tired of two things: load shedding and electricity bills that just keep climbing. If that sounds like you, then you're in the right place. Because today, we are breaking down everything you need to know in your essential guide to residential solar.
All right, let's start with a number that should get your attention: 12.74%. So what is that? Well, that's the average Eskom tariff hike that's about to hit. Now, what does that actually mean for your wallet? If you've got, say, around 2,000 Rand monthly bill, you're looking at over 250 Rand extra every single month. This isn't some problem for down the road. No, this is happening right now, and it's completely changing the game.
You know, with price hikes like that and some pretty serious registration deadlines coming up, the scales have definitely tipped. We've reached a point where solar isn't a nice-to-have luxury anymore. Honestly, it's become a strategic financial necessity for any homeowner who wants to take back control of their power and, protect their bank account.
Okay, so let's just dive right in and tackle the big questions head on. First off, why is everybody talking about solar right now? And what are the absolute must-know basics you need to get your head around before you even think about picking up the phone for a quote?
It sounds like such a basic question, right? But the answer is, honestly, a total game changer. So at its simplest, solar uses these things called photovoltaic panels, you'll hear them called PV panels, to turn sunlight straight into electricity that powers your house. Simple as that. But let's get past the science stuff. What are the real, actual benefits for you and your family?
And here they are, the 4 huge reasons this makes so much sense. Number 1, and let's be honest, this is the big one for most of us. You say goodbye to load shedding. You get your power back. Number 2, the cost savings are massive. We're talking about chopping your electricity bill by 50, maybe even up to 90%. Third, you basically build a wall between you and those never-ending tariff hikes. And finally, you're doing a great thing for the planet by slashing your carbon footprint. It's really a win-win-win-win.
Okay, that all sounds great, but how do you actually make it happen? How do you get those benefits? Well, it all boils down to one thing: finding the perfect system for your home. Getting the size and the type of system right from the get-go, that's the key that unlocks everything we just talked about.
So before you can get an accurate price, any good solar company is going to need to understand how you use electricity. It's unique to every home. So the question is, what's your homework? What do you need to get together before you start making those calls? All right, think of this as your prep checklist. First, you're going to want to grab your last 12 months of electricity bills. This gives a clear picture of your usage year-round. Next up, you need to figure out your load profile. Now that sounds technical, but it's simple. Do you use most of your power during the day or at night? Then, make a list of what's essential. The fridge, the lights, the Wi-Fi, versus what's non-essential, like maybe the pool pump. And last, have your roof details handy and snap a few photos of your main DB board. That box with all the switches. Doing this little bit of homework first will make getting a really accurate quote so much easier. Once you've got all that info, you're going to come across 3 main types of systems. Let's break them down. You've got grid-tied. It's the cheapest, but, and this is a big but, it gives you 0 protection from load shedding. Then you've got the total opposite, off-grid. This means you're completely independent, but boy, it comes with the highest price tag. And then, right in the middle, you have the hybrid system. This is the most popular one, really. It uses batteries to get you through load shedding, but keeps you connected to the grid as a backup. For most people, this is the sweet spot. And this chart really shows you what we're talking about in terms of cost. Let's take a typical 5 kilowatt system, which is a pretty common size. That basic grid-tied system might set you back around 80,000 Rand. The super popular hybrid one, you're looking at about 125,000. And if you want to go fully off-grid, well, that price can easily shoot past 215,000 Rand. So you can really see the difference.
A question I get asked all the time is what happens to all that extra power my panels are making on a really sunny afternoon? It's a great question. And the answer is, well, it depends on your system. With a hybrid system, that extra juice first goes to charge up your batteries, so you can use it tonight during load shedding. But with a grid-tied system, all that extra power gets sent straight back to the grid, and if you have the right kind of meter, you can actually get credit for it.
Okay, so you've picked your system. Awesome. But now we come to what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this whole process: choosing the right installer and making sure everything is done safely and legally. I can't stress this enough. Getting this part wrong isn't just expensive, it can be downright dangerous. And let's be crystal clear about something. This is not a job for your local handyman. This is specialized electrical work. So how can you be sure that the person you're about to let work on your home's electrical system is a real, certified professional?
There are 3 things you absolutely have to check for. These are non-negotiable. First, they need a wireman's license. This is the only qualification that lets them legally sign off on the work. Second, look for a PV Green Card certification. This proves they have specific training in solar installations. And third, check if they're a member of the ECA, the Electrical Contractors Association. That gives you an extra layer of backup. Seriously, ask for proof of all 3.
And once the job is done, your installer has to give you this document. It's called a Certificate of Compliance, or a COC. Now listen closely, because this is critical. If you don't have a valid COC for your solar system and something goes wrong, like a fire or a power surge, your insurance company will almost certainly refuse to pay out. That's how important this one piece of paper is.
So before you hand over that final payment, you need to mentally tick 3 boxes. These are your pillars of compliance. 1, do you have that physical certificate of compliance in your hand? 2, has the system been properly registered with your local municipality? This is called SSEG registration. And 3, just do a quick physical check yourself. Are the cables neat and tidy? Are all the safety and warning labels in place? Only when you can say yes to all 3 should you sign off on the job.
And here's a really serious heads up. That registration we just mentioned, the grace period for getting it done is closing. After March 2026, if you have an unregistered system, you could be looking at fines of around 6,000 Rand. And what's worse, they could even legally disconnect you from the grid. You do not want to be in that position.
All right, we've covered the really critical safety and legal stuff. Now let's get to the part everyone loves to talk about, the money. What is the long-term payoff? How does this investment actually make financial sense?
I mean, this is the bottom line question for any big purchase, isn't it? When does this thing actually pay for itself? The good news is, figuring out your return on investment, or ROI, is actually pretty simple to do.
And here's the formula. It's super straightforward. You just take the total cost to get the system installed, and you divide that by how much money you save on electricity in 1 year. The number you get is your payback period, in years. It's that simple. It shows you exactly when your system stops being a cost and starts becoming a moneymaker.
So let's use a real-world example. Imagine you get a hybrid system that costs 120,000 Rand all in. And let's say it saves you 2,000 Rand on your bill every month. Well, that's 24,000 Rand in savings a year, right? So you take the 120,000 cost divided by 24,000 annual savings, and you get 5 years. That's your payback period. Right now in South Africa, most people are seeing payback periods somewhere between 4 and 7 years. But here's where it gets really exciting. Think about this. After those 5 years are up, your system is paid for. But your solar panels? They have a warranty for 25 years. That means you are looking at 20 years, 2 full decades, of basically free electricity from the sun.
And it's not just about the monthly savings. A proper solar installation can actually boost the value of your house by anywhere from 3 to 8%. Now, in terms of long-term ownership, the upkeep is tiny. You just need to clean the panels a couple of times a year, and you should probably plan on replacing the batteries after about 10 to 15 years.
So, when you really think about it, when you weigh the certainty of rising electricity costs and constant load shedding on one side and the promise of 20 years of free, clean power on the other, it really just leaves you with one final question, doesn't it? What are you waiting for?